Welcome to the Q1 Buck Poll. I'm Tim Hart-Haverhill. He's Mike Big Buck Hoffner. And we have a great show for you because we've got big bucks, we got some interviews, we've got some food, we got information. It's a great show.
And fun all on top of it.
Because why? Big Buck Hoffner.
Exactly. We're having a good time, though. We always do.
We are having a good time, and we hope you're out there still hunting in the woods, unless you, of course, are successful and are on the Q1 Buck Poll right now. But you've got until December 31st to register either a buck or a doe or both to get a chance to win that Yamaha Grizzly 350 ATV. February the 7th, we're giving it away at Firekeepers Casino and Hotel in Battle Creek.
Tell you what, we got time. The real hunters are coming out because it's muzzleloading season. Second season gets a little colder, a little tougher hunting conditions. Those are the people that really have the bragging rights when they shoot those deer on the second season.
On today's show, we're going to talk about a controversial subject, wolf hunting. Adam Bump's going to be with us from the DNR. And you know, Mike, there's a lot of pros and cons, and some people are saying, hey, if I'm out there and I see a wolf, I'd like to shoot him.
You know, I don't think our fans all know this, Tim, but guess what? I'm from the UP.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk to all my UP buddies who are hot on the wolf subject, I've yet to have one of them say they're happy with the wolf population. So everything I hear is not good, so I want to hear both sides of the story.
All right, we've got interviews from the Country Smokehouse from opening weekend. We also have the chefs from Firekeepers Casino and Hotel in Battle Creek. They're going to cook up something delectable, and I can't wait.
Okay, finally.
It's a big word.
Something that gets into my stomach.
Venison
we like it.
is what it's going to be.
On the hoof.
We've got tuning your bow. A lot of people going out for the secondary bow season coming up. And so if you need some help in tuning your bow, Don Baxter's got some tips from Hicks Outdoors in Clio. And we'll talk about the final party. That's what we got here today on the Q1 Buck Poll. Firekeepers Casino and Hotel present the Q1 Buck Poll. Back here on the Q1 Buck Poll. Remember, you can see all the bucks at q1buckpoll.com, and Big Buck Hoffner's got some nice looking deer right now.
Bucks, bucks, and more bucks. Here we go. Let's start out with Jeffrey Toy from Southwest Michigan, bringing in a 12-pointer. Terrific score, Tim, 59.5. Jonathan Wagelin from South Central Michigan with a 10-pointer. The score was 49. And finally, Darren McCarty, probably not the Darren McCarty from the Detroit Red Wings, but a cool name, bringing in an 11-pointer from South Central Michigan. The score, 50.125.
Okay, in our open, we talked about it, hunting, and we're talking about wolf hunting. The DNR, they're trying to get information from people. There's new laws coming out. They're letting people hunt. There's people going both ways. Hey, I like it, I don't like it, but everybody has an opinion on it.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Like I said, I've come from the western end of the UP, and anytime I get a chance to go back and see my buddies, it is a very controversial subject of conversation.
Today on our DNR update, we've got Adam Bump with us. He's a DNR wildlife biologist. He's also the department's bear and fur bearer specialist. And we're going to talk about some controversy. And I know a lot of people, controversy in the DNR. Well, today we're going to talk about the controversy about wolf hunting. And it is very controversial, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's probably, right now, it's the top controversy, at least for my job. Mm-hmm. So it's been challenging, but really interesting to work on.
Now, there's a petition out there. Let's talk about the petition and another drive happening right now. They're putting a similar ballot, similar question on the ballot again. What's currently out there and what can we do with the hunt?
So what we've got right now is there'll be a referendum on the ballot in November of 2014 to try to repeal a law that establishes wolves as a game species. Mm-hmm. There's also a petition that's happening right now to effectively do the same thing. It's challenging a different piece of legislation, but still legislation that would allow the hunting of wolves. Right now, as we stand today, we will have a wolf season this fall. The purpose is to help resolve conflicts in the Upper Peninsula. It's not a population management hunt. It's not a recreational hunt, although there'll be recreational benefits. We've set this up to try to help resolve some long-standing conflicts in the UP. Things like livestock depredation, pets being killed, human safety issues, those types of things. So right now we're looking at moving forward with a hunt starting in November.
Well, let's talk about the problem with the wolves out there right now. Do we have an increase in population? Are people seeing them more like in their yard type of thing?
The population right now, our minimum winter count is about 658 animals. That population can increase up to 40% more by the fall, just from puppies being born and those types of things. The population has had a steady increase since the late 80s, early 90s. It looks like it may be starting to level off. I think it's important for people to understand that this hunt isn't designed to control the population or even limit the number of animals in the UP. It's designed to target a few areas where we've had these persistent problems to try to see if we can't reduce livestock depredations, attacks on pets, places where wolves are habituated to people, where we have some concerns about human safety. So we're trying to remove a few wolves to reduce those problems, but not really overall affect how many wolves we have overall in the UP. Over the years, wolves were listed on the endangered species list, both on the Michigan list and the national list, and they were recently delisted about a year ago, a little over a year ago. That gave us, the Michigan legislature, the ability to consider having them be a game species. Once they were named a game species, we had the ability to look at whether we needed to use hunting to help us manage those conflicts. And when we looked at the last 3 years, what's happening in the Upper Peninsula, even though we use non-lethal techniques to try to resolve wolf conflicts, we use targeted lethal where we kill a wolf that's actually causing problems, we still have these pockets in the UP where we're not able to resolve those conflicts to the level we'd like. And that's why we thought now's a good time to implement a hunt to try to see if we can help reduce some of those problems.
All right, so how's it going to work? Is there going to be a certain number of wolves? You're limiting the hunt to so many, 50 wolves or 100, whatever the number is. Is there going to be a limit?
Yep, we have this season set up quite a bit differently than any other hunting season that we have right now. So we selected 3 areas of the Upper Peninsula based on persistent conflicts and the territories of packs that we know have caused problems. So we're looking at really focusing down on just 3 areas of the UP. It's about 12% of the UP that's open. We set a target harvest for each one of those 3 areas, and we're going to use a call-in system, which is used out west and in other places, to be able to shut the season down in each unit when we reach that number of animals taken.
All right, Adam, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right. Taking care and talking about a little bit of controversy out there with this type of a hunt. And then people could go online and get all kinds of information.
Yep, there's a lot of information online, michigan.gov/wolves, or take a look at our hunting digest. The wolf hunting digest we set up a little different than a lot of our normal digests. We have the first section is actually information about our overall plan for managing wolves and some information. So it's a great thing. Just even if you don't want a wolf hunt, but you want to learn about wolf management in Michigan, you can grab a digest.
All right. Adam is a DNR wildlife biologist and the department's fur bearer specialist. I'm Tim Hart, and that's your DNR update. You're watching the Q1 Buck Poll. One of the times I love most, and I think anybody who's a hunter here in the state of Michigan knows that, November 15th. But this year it was November 15th, 16th, and 17th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm not so sure it doesn't get any more perfect than that.
No, that's the perfect time to be hunting. I mean, a lot of people got to take off Friday and connect it with the whole weekend. Great weekend of opportunity to kill that deer.
We had a lot of chance to talk to people on opening weekend. From the Country Smokehouse in Almont, here's some of our...
I passed on a buck 7-point about 9 o'clock in the morning, opening day. Sat most of the whole day. I started hitting my bleat call about 3 o'clock. I bleated him in, came in charging at me from all across a 40-acre field, and I shot him right in the neck and dropped him.
Now, have you been hunting that same land for a long time? Or
yeah, we have a lease up in Kingston. We've been hunting for about 10, 12 years now.
Shot this buck up in Carsonville, Michigan. Have 120 acres there where we do quality deer management. let 15 bucks walk before this guy showed up. And that's what happens when you're doing quality deer management. You know, he gave me a pretty easy shot, you know, right at last light. Another minute and he would have been alive. So, you know, pretty proud of him. Like I said, quality deer management works. Even though not all my neighbors are doing it, I'm doing it, and it works for me.
Now, have you seen this buck before on your land?
I seen him 2 other times. I didn't have a lot. I coached football here in Emily City, and I didn't have a lot of bow hunting time, but I seen him twice. The neighbor actually almost got him with the bow, nicked his belly. There's a little, you can see the cut. So thanks to him, he pushed him over my way, I think, and we did the job with him.
All right, when we come back, we're going to be talking to the chefs. We're going to be cooking up some great venison at Firekeepers Casino and Hotel in the kitchen. One thing I never get tired of, and that is seeing bucks. And we've got a lot of bucks on the buck pole this year. Big Buck Hoffner, what you got?
Love it. Some great scores here. Let's start out with Andrew Rieger from mid-Michigan with an 11-pointer. The score, 45 1/4. Mitchell Ill up in the thumb with a 14-pointer. The score, 48 3/4. Steve Katz from southwest mid-Michigan, 14-pointer, score 50 1/4. And finally, Chris Smith from southwest mid-Michigan, 11-pointer, great score, 51 as well.
All right, so you've got your venison. Probably some people have it all in the freezer, ready to go. How are you going to cook it? Here are some recipes from Firekeepers Casino and Hotel. Well, we're going to cook up something delicious here on the Q1 Buck Pole. We've got Jeremiah Chabich with us. He's a sous chef here at Firekeepers Casino and Hotel in Battle Creek. Looks like we got some venison here. Jeremiah, welcome
How you doing,
to the
Tim?
Q1 Buck
Thank
Pole.
you.
All right, let's talk about what we're going to make first of all.
All right, first we're going to make venison steaks with braised red cabbage and apples, some garlic mashed potatoes, garlic cider sauce, and some fried onions on top.
Sounds like a wide range of tastes to kind of bring it all together then, is that right?
Yep, but they all marry nice and good.
All right, so let's go through the ingredients real quick.
All right, what we got here is some nice venison steaks. I'm going to be using apple cider vinegar, a little bit of red wine, some caraway seed, minced garlic, a little bit of sugar, shredded red cabbage, sliced red onions, sliced apples, Granny Smith, whole grain mustard, some parsley, shallots, and bacon.
At any time you're adding bacon to any recipe, you know it's going to be good.
It's got to be good.
All right, well let's start. We're going to start here on the...
We're going to start here on the stove with the sauces and a braised red cabbage.
All right, let's go do that. Okay, we're going to start on the stove, and we're going to cook the sauce first. That we're going to do? Or?
Yep, we're going to cook the sauce first. It's going to be some beef stock, and I'm going to be using some apple cider. It's going to be about a cup's worth, just like that. Going to get some shallots in there. And that's starting the sauce, and is going to let that reduce about by half before I add the whole grain mustard. Right here, we're going to be starting the braised red cabbage by rendering off the bacon. The bacon takes a little bit of time to render, so while that's rendering, we're going to move down to the char grill.
All right, Jeremiah, now it's time to head to the grill here. Let's see what we got.
Char grill.
A little char grill stuff.
Going to season these up real quick. Nice and good.
Isn't that just like a salt and pepper type mix, or?
Just, salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic powder, and some allspice. So we'll get them cooking right there.
Now, how long will you cook those?
Well, I like mine about medium rare,
Okay.
so a couple minutes per side.
Right. Well, and a lot of people are like that. When it comes to venison, they don't want it done so much because it gets a little tougher.
It does.
Okay. All right, so we got the steaks on.
Got steaks down. Now we move down to the fryer.
All right. Okay, so now we've got the onions, and we got our...
Just got some all-purpose flour, some salt and pepper, some shaved onions, nice and thin. What we're going to do is going to put some in there. We're just going to toss them. Shake off the excess. So dump them right in the fryer.
You're just going to fry those up crisp, right?
Just fry them up crisp.
Okay. So, we've got the steaks on, we've got the onions in the fryer, we've got the sauce going.
Sauce going, the braised red cabbage started.
All right.
And now
What's next?
Now we can just move down and start adding the cabbage and the onions to the pot.
Okay.
The sauce still has a little bit to reduce. Okay, now we're back down on the stove, and what we're going to do is, got the bacon rendered. We're going to use our sliced onions, saute them. Hear that nice sizzle. And after that, we're going to add our red cabbage. Our red wine.
You got to have red wine, right?
Always got to have red wine. Wine and bacon. A little bit of cider vinegar. About that much. Then we got our apples. Now this is going to take about half an hour, 40 minutes to fully cook. So while that's going, and the sugar. We got our sauce that we started reducing earlier. It's pretty much done. Just got to add the whole grain mustard. Whisk that in there. And then we top it off with a little bit of parsley. A little bit of salt and pepper. That reduced down nice and good, about halfway.
Okay, so we are ready to plate it, but I'm going to have Jeremiah go through it one more time real quick, the recipe.
Okay, what we did was grilled venison steak with that mustard cider sauce. The braised red cabbage came out nice. We did some mashed potatoes ahead of time. Them fried onions are nice and golden. I'm just going to top everything off with a little bit of parsley as garnish.
Let's plate it up because I'm hungry, man. After watching all this and smelling it.
It does smell good, Tim.
Yeah, it does.
So we're just going to do that. That way you can hold the sauce a little bit. Get some of this cabbage down.
And for people who have never tried cabbage like this, it is delicious.
It is quite delicious. The apples and cider vinegar in it help bring out the flavor a lot. Got to put the steak right there. Get a little bit of sauce in them potatoes.
And really not your traditional gravy. That
No,
sauce,
like I said, this wasn't intended to be a thick sauce. It wasn't supposed to be a gravy, just nice thin sauce. A little garnish. Just a little parsley to give it a little green. And there you go.
We got a great story for you right now. Big Buck Hoffner had success without me. He was out and about, and it was kind of rainy. I was out of town, and give me the story.
I'll tell you what, it was not with my weapon of choice. You know how passionate I am about bow hunting, but guess what? I drew the big goose egg this year, Tim. I did not get a buck during bow season, not because I couldn't shoot one. I let a lot of small ones go, so I'm encouraged about next year. But my wife last year was kind enough to buy me a muzzleloader. And so I decided to go out with that muzzleloader, and it was interesting. I was out on a Saturday night and had the muzzleloader, and lo and behold, I'm sitting out there and about 125. I didn't know at the time because I didn't bring my rangefinder with me. I later found out because I come back the next day, brought the rangefinder, found it to be 125 yards. Didn't even know I could see that far, but I had a really nice 10-pointer come out, about 125 yards. Fired it with my muzzleloader, get one shot, deer jumps up, runs about 10 yards and stands there. And the thing about muzzleloading that's so kind of cool and exciting is you get this huge cloud of smoke, so you can't really see where you hit the deer. But the way the deer was standing, I was pretty sure that I had a shot put on him. So the deer's standing there, so now I'm going, what do I do? So I actually had time, Tim, in my blind to sit there to reload. And and it's not that easy to get that ramrod. You got to get a little leverage. So I actually stood up, pushed down another bullet into that gun. I got a second shot, and bang, off he goes and down by the lake. And he disappeared into a lot of tall grass that kind of went up to my waist. And so I sat a good 30 minutes, which I think you should do to see, okay, I think I got the thing. I'm going to go check things out. So I walked in the direction where that deer was. I looked on the ground. It was like somebody pulled out the oil plug out of the car.
Oh,
there was a big patch of blood right on the ground there. So I said, hey, I got the hit. I saw the direction where he went, so I kind of started walking off about 50 yards. And as luck would have it, the old Hofner luck, the deer jumps up and takes off on me. So now I'm sitting there going, what am I going to do? I said, I'm telling you what I'm not going to do, and I'm not going to track that deer. I'm going to let it go overnight. So I went home that night, tossing and turning, knowing that the next day, Sunday, we've got bad weather rolling in. The rain was coming. If you remember, it was the day that everybody lost power. So I told my wife, I got to get up at the crack of dawn. I got to get on that deer. So I get out there. I'm sitting down. I'm waiting for it to get light. And wouldn't you know it, I'm standing there. As soon as it gets light, here comes 2 does walking my direction. So I said, I'll just sit here a second, see what happens. Next thing, a buck comes right out after that one. I drop that buck, walks 10 yards, falls over, dead, piece of cake. I'm going, great. So I go looking for my other buck. And so I kind of go off, and I walk down a trail in that tall grass and it was headed right toward the lake, so I know if he was going to get away, he had to swim across the channel. So I get down in that lake area, start walking down one path, and I know, okay, it narrows down there. You know where Dale's Island is out there. It narrows down in that section. So I'm walking down one section of that pathway, so I'm going to go down there and loop and come all the way around. I look to the right, and there's a coyote standing there. So I'm going to put the whooping stick on him, too. Well, I don't get a chance. As soon as he hears a click, off he goes. I walk over to where that coyote was standing, and there's my buck. He didn't even get a chance to taste him one bit.
He was coming after him, you know that.
And so I'll tell you what, it was a great morning, but the thing that turned bad real fast is if you remember the storm that we had that day, I got 2 bucks now in the middle of the woods, and I'm scratching my head saying, guess what? I got to get home about 500 yards around that lake to get to my house. And lo and behold, here comes the rain. It wasn't just raining down straight, it was raining sideways. And so I came home, I was soaked to the bone, but lo and behold, I eventually got both deer home, a little worn out, a little sore, but it was a great day.
Holy cow, wore me out just listening to the story.
Yeah, guess what? I didn't have power either. I was without power for 3 days, so I paid the price, but it was all worth it.
That's your story, a long one from Big Buck Hoffner. Well, congratulations.
Hey, thanks.
That's awesome, though. That's a great story and a lot of fun. And, sometimes go out during the bad weather and you may have success. All right, well, that's all we got today. Remember, anytime you're out in the woods, be safe. He's Mike Big Buck Hoffner. I'm Tim Hart-Haverhill. Thanks for being with us this week on the Q1 Buck Report.
Yeah, he's physically not capable, and I've got a sore throat. He's black and blue all over. I beat him with a stick. He isn't performing in his duties.
Hang on.
Let's
start the show.